And welcome to another edition of the Life, Liberty, Etc. range bag. Today we're going to show you how to disassemble and reassemble a Mossberg 500 shotgun. Just so happens we've got one here. We also have a Mossberg 590. Not too many differences. The 590 is a little heavier, has a bigger magazine, has a bayonet lug. That's always handy. And we're going to stick to the 500 today. So let's get started. Before working on any gun, you want to make sure it's unloaded. So we're going to check that. Here we have the magazine. We can see there's no rounds in the magazine. We're going to push on the slide stop lever here. Pull the slide back. We can look in the chamber and see there's no rounds in the chamber. So we're good to go. Alright, the first step is we're going to take the barrel off. We're going to move the slide about halfway forward. And then we're going to take this screw off the end here. And then that barrel comes right off. Now we're ready to disassemble the receiver. We're going to take out the trigger housing, the cartridge stop, the cartridge interrupter, the bolt, and the elevator. So the first thing to do is to punch out this trigger housing pin. It pops right out. And the trigger housing comes out. We got the cartridge interrupter, the cartridge stop. And then in here, if we slide the bolt back, we can get the bolt slide out. Now we're ready to take off the slide and the bolt and the elevator. So the slide comes right off the front. We can push the bolt out the front of the receiver. And we'll flip it over and the elevator comes right out just by squeezing it together. And that pretty much covers the major disassembly for the Mossberg 500. And now we'll show you how to put it all back together. Now to reassemble it, we're going to put the elevator back in. There's a couple holes at the back of the receiver. We just give this a squeeze. It'll pop in there. Bolt goes in the front of the receiver, the rounded side up. Come on. And that slides in like so. Now we can put the slide back on. That slides over the front and fits in these two holes on the receiver. And to get the slide back on, we're going to put a little downward pressure on the slide bars and they'll ride in these channels here. And then the slide goes right back on. One of the tricks to getting this put back together correctly is to get everything in here lined up right. So we have this notch on the slide bar. We're going to line up the front of this notch just about with the front of this cut in the receiver. And then we're going to line up this hook on the bolt here in the middle of that notch. And then when we pop the lever or the bolt slide in, it'll catch there on the front. So we're going to push this forward until it's lined up just about there at the front of the cut. We're going to line up this hook here in the middle of these notches, not quite in the middle, maybe a little more towards the rear. Then if we did it right, the bolt slide should drop right in. Looks like we did it right. If you give it a little downward pressure, you can push it forward and it'll ride in that channel here on the receiver. Okay, to get the rest of it assembled, we'll put in the cartridge stop and the cartridge interrupter. And you kind of have to keep the back end of these out of the way so you can put the trigger housing in. I'm going to try to hold this back and put this trigger housing in. And if you do it right, it'll drop right in. It's always a tricky operation. There we go. And the final steps to reassembly, we'll put our trigger housing pin back in. Doesn't take much pressure, it sits in there pretty easy. And then we'll put our barrel back on. So we'll slide this back about halfway. And the barrel slides right on here. And we'll just screw it back in. And then we'll do a little function test to make sure everything is assembled correctly. So once again, we'll make sure it's unloaded. No rounds in the magazine. Push the slide stop lever, pull the slide back, no round in the chamber. We'll slide it forward, take the safety off, pull the trigger and hold it back. Sounds good. Rack the slide, check the trigger, that looks good. Rack the slide again, we'll check the safety, put the safety back on, make sure the safety works. Pull the bolt, we'll check the bolt stop. Bolt stop looks like it works, push it in. And there you have it. That's the disassembly and reassembly for a Mossberg 500.